Hey everyone, it's Andre the Alpha here. Today we're tackling Black Myth Wukong, a game that has blown me away with its ambition, but also challenged my patience with a few frustrating elements. As a heads up, since we're under an embargo, I can only show gameplay footage up to chapter 2, which means some technical issues I encountered later on won't be shown here, but stay tuned as I'll be dropping a full updated review post-launch with those included. Let's dive in. Starting off, Black Myth. Wukong is probably one of the most visually stunning games I've ever played. Every frame feels meticulously crafted, from the intricate environments rich in Chinese mythology to the gorgeous animations. This game takes a familiar story to anyone who's read or heard of Journey to the West, yet it adds a unique twist. You play as the Destined One, a monkey warrior on a mission to recover 6 relics belonging to Wukong himself. It's a lengthy journey, clocking in at around 40 hours, and while the plot isn't anything revolutionary, it's layered with references and callbacks to the classic novel by Wukong. And now here's where the story side gets tricky. If you're unfamiliar with the original story, you may find yourself a little lost. The game doesn't hold your hand with backstory explanations, so there were moments I had to pause and look up who some of these characters were or what their relationships were with Wukong. For example, without some digging, it's hard to grasp the dynamic between Wukong and Zubaji, and that lack of exposition can leave you feeling a bit adrift. That said, each chapter ends with a beautifully crafted vignette about the main antagonist. These segments are artistic masterpieces, each one in a unique art style. Storybook illustrations, stop motion animation, even anime inspired scenes. While the main story could have used more depth, these short stories alone add an emotional weight that's well worth experiencing. So let's talk gameplay, because Black Myth Wukong takes its cues from Souls-like games but goes in a bit of a different direction. While there's a checkpoint system, a stamina bar, and dodge-based combat, Wukong veers more towards traditional action games like those from Platinum Games. You don't lose any resources when you die, there's no shared currency for leveling up, and there's less of that punishing backtracking that Souls games often bring. And honestly, I think that's a smart move for the kind of action-packed, fast-paced experience Wukong wants to deliver. It keeps the focus on battles and progression rather than grinding through menus or stressing over lost resources. But don't get me wrong, this game is still tough. If you played Elden Ring or are familiar with that intense difficulty spike, you'll find similar challenges here. The difference is that each boss fight feels rewarding rather than purely punishing. Learning attack patterns, identifying moments to strike, and finding the perfect combination of skills make every battle a learning experience. And when you do take down a boss, there's a huge sense of accomplishment. The combat itself is both simple and deep. It focuses on quick reflexes and resource management with a clever system called the focus meter. Every time you land hits or dodge perfectly, your focus meter fills up, granting you focus points that can be spent on special attacks within a combo. These can range from a powerful strike to charge moves if you use multiple focus points simultaneously. You also have access to spells that operate through a mana meter. These aren't just your basic spells, each one serves a specific purpose and can be incredibly versatile. One of my favorites is the Immobilize spell, which freezes enemies briefly, letting you land some solid hits. There's also Rock Solid, which temporarily turns you into a statue that reflects enemy attacks back at them, giving you a chance for a counter-strike. And if you're in need of a health boost, the Ring of Fire creates a protective circle that not only restores health, but also amplifies the effects of certain buffs if you drink them within the circle. My personal favorite has to be Pluck of Many, which creates clones to gang up on your enemies for maximum damage. Transformations are another core part of Wukong's combat, where you can morph into powerful creatures after defeating them. What's cool is that these transformations don't require mana but operate on a cooldown, letting you use them strategically without worrying about running dry. Defeating a fiery wolf boss, for example, lets you transform into that beast, granting you new moves like a devastating lightning dash and the ability to set enemies ablaze with a leaping strike. It's an exhilarating feeling to fight fire with fire, literally. Then we have spirit skills. These are a bit like one-hit special moves earned by absorbing the essence of powerful foes. They are also tied to a cooldown but can be upgraded to keep them relevant as the game progresses. For instance, after immobilizing an enemy, you could use the powerful headbutt from the Wandering Wight to stagger them even further. The balance between power, cooldown management, and strategic timing keeps each battle engaging, especially with Wukong's thoughtfully paced skill progression. Exploration is rewarding, but can be a little tricky. Black Myth Wukong offers a semi-linear level design with the main paths but plenty of hidden treasures and secret areas to discover. The incentive to explore is huge. Rare crafting materials, new weapons, armor, and stat boosting items are scattered throughout, making every detour worthwhile. However, the game would definitely benefit from a map. With so much ground to cover and so many secrets to uncover, navigating without any guidance can be tedious, especially in chapters 2 and 3. But let's address the elephant in the room: technical issues. Even with a high-end setup featuring an RTX 490, I encountered multiple crashes and bugs. One particularly painful crash happened just after I defeated a challenging boss, forcing me to start over. And it's not just performance hiccups, there were times in cutscenes where the audio and subtitles vanished completely, leaving me in the dark about what was happening. Character dialogue would sometimes switch randomly from English to Chinese, and certain lip syncs were way off. In one fight, I repeatedly fell through the ground when transitioning to a boss's final phase, which almost made me give up. I hope Game Science can address these issues in future patches, because they definitely affect the experience. With all that said, Black Myth. Wukong is still an incredible game that excels at what it sets out to do. Its combat is thrilling, requiring a mix of skill and strategy that'll test even seasoned players. There's a great variety of enemies, and the boss fights are genuinely memorable, combining gorgeous animations with intense mechanics. Its world is captivating, filled with intricate details and stunning visuals, from realistic forest scenes to dynamic snow trails. If you're a fan of action games or even Souls-likes, you're in for an unforgettable journey. However, be prepared for a few bumps along the way. Game Science has created something special here, and with a bit more polished Black Myth, Wukong could become a modern classic in the action genre. As it stands, it's a fantastic game with a few rough edges, but one that's absolutely worth your time. Thank you for watching this review, and if you're looking for more Black Myth content, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to see me tackle some of these bosses live, head over to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv and Dreet the Alpha, where I'm streaming every week. I'd love to see you there and chat with you about all things gaming. Until next time, keep gaming, keep leveling up, and stay strong.